Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to a Solitaire mystery where last time we realigned the planets and I managed to raise a plant without killing it. So I kind of feel like I could do anything. Does that mean we're going to go back to time travel Solitaire? No, absolutely not. We're going to let the good feeling roll for a minute here. Alright, so double-sided Solitaire, a smaller version of Solitaire with double-sided cards. 3 difficulty. Okay, so the other number is telling us what's on the back of the card, presumably. Fill the slots with 5 stacks in descending order, alternating color. You can pick up a stack of multiple cards if they adhere to the rule above. At any time, you can right-click to turn over the topmost card of a stack. Okay, interesting. So we just have to get the stacks sorted. It's remarkably little text. It makes me feel like I'm missing things. Alright, 5 stacks, descending order, alternating color. It's interesting that the final state is alternating color this time, which is not how the game has worked previously, but okay, let's do it. So, obviously, this one is already fine if we could just flip it over, but you can't flip cards over while they're the bottom of a stack. So, we can do this. They're always the other color on the other side. Yeah, we're gonna have to do the standard thing here, right? Where we clear a stack out, and then fit a 5 into it. So our nearest 5 is this one. This is a 4 on both sides, which is a little bit awkward because that means we need to clear a 5 out somewhere else. This was not a good stack to start with. Okay, you know what? Actually, yeah, let me reconfigure a little bit here and try to open up. Well, actually, there's a 5, so bam. Not to say that we will not use this stack for other things later, but what a start. Okay, now that we've got this figured out. Nope, sorry, that was what it needed to be in the first place. Okay, now we do that, and then we... Right, that's the wrong color. I need a red 4. Of which there are a few. There's a few around. Can I get this 2 onto something? Not really, because obviously I want to access the 4 that's on the other side of this card. Yeah, blue 4 won't do. Okay, we might for the moment have to... So you turn this into a red 1. Red 1 doesn't really help. I'm just thinking I can flip this over and it can allow us to siphon a couple of cards off. But a red 3 is actually not... It's not the thing we're looking for right now. We have all these red 2s that we'd like to move around. So... Yeah, we have stacks to blue 3 all over the place. If I can redistribute this card, we can turn this into a red 4 and start working things out. But unfortunately, this requires another blue 3. Like, our blue 3 is already spoken for. Can I get you onto a blue 2 anywhere? Do I think? So the blue 2 is like there's two buried here. Obviously, that's the one that's in the completed stack. The answer is no, I think. This being a red 1 is really rough too. Did I already build a position where we're like stuck? How am I so efficient? How did I get so good at this? Ugh. Alright, can we build a functional position here? Well, I can pull this to the side. There we go. That lets us do that. And then this is a 1 on either side. So now we have 2 good stacks. just got to get the rest of our 5s figured out. So if we turn this into a 5... No, these are unfortunately the wrong color to stack together. So I would either have to put this on a 4 or on a blank space, and the same is true with that card. That's challenging. That makes things a little bit awkward. And the fact that the bottom of this stack is actually just a 1 reduces our mobility a little bit. Like, it'd be much nicer if it was something where we could turn it over and use it to move things, right? So getting trapped under the 4-5-4-5 is rough for sure. A thing we can do about that is like, no, it's a red 1. I need a blue 2 to put it on. I was saying if we could like scoop this up and get it back into the puzzle somewhere else and move this 5 over instead, I think it's actually a lot better for us. But unfortunately, once again, its coloration is minorly a problem. It's alright, we're figuring it out slowly. I flip this over. Oh, I can't write that. This is not a valid sequence. I don't know why I thought it was. Valid for movability. If I flip this over to a red 4... Well, okay, hold on. Let me put this back, flip this to a red 4, and that lets us move this over. And then we have a thing that's actually a 5 on both sides, which lets us move this 4 out of the way and get access to the stuff beneath, which is handy, I think. So we're pretty short on red 2s. It's tough to move this around as a blue 1. Sadly, making it a red 4 is still pretty tough. Okay, if we flip this over to allow it to temporarily hold this, a blue 5 here lets us dump the red 4. Then we can turn this around and get it out of the way. Okay. Ah, red 3. Damn it, it's always the wrong... It's always the wrong polarity. It's a little awkward. And we can turn this over and get this out of the way at least. Now the question is, which 5 placement is going to make it easier for me to dig into these stacks a little bit more? Because if we put this 5 out, we don't have a blue 3 to move on to it, so it doesn't really help us dig deeper. We could move this if we can, flip some of the bottom cards over a little bit, but I don't know how helpful I think that is, like moving this 3, because then we just have another 4-5 card that we have to figure out how to deal with, right? But I suppose there's the 5-5 over here that's also troublesome. Okay, so we have a pair of 5s that really just need a place to be. If I flip this one over, and then we pull these to here, I guess, I'm freeing up spaces in a way. Then you put that there and flip this back to 1, and you've got most of a pile. This 5 is blue on its other side, so that's fantastic. Blue 1 or red 3. Well, if we flip this, we can get this out of the way at least. Sadly, it locks that 5 out of position, but it gives us this one. And then... how do we continue moving things around? Turning this into a blue 4 allows me to move this as a red 3. Like, having another blue 3 I don't think is... well, it's not the worst thing in the world. But wait. Why am I not just doing that? Okay, we're like very close, right? We have 3 cards that are stuck underneath a 5 stack that need to get liberated somehow. So, what needs to happen here is that we need to create an opening without stacking cards on top of this 5 so that I can get this 5 out of the way, right? Now here we can make a red 5, convert this, and then this is a 1 on its other side. So it's gotta be relatively easy to move this, right? 3. Do I have something that could become the blue 2 that will help me out of this situation? Well, I mean, I guess that helps me out of the situation. Okay. Now, we gotta get these cards the hell out of here. So, that's that. This could be on a red 4 if we had a red 4. How can we reconfigure? This could end up over here instead, which could then give me access to this. Digging until we can flip something over into a red 4 is tough, though. So if I were able to move one of these 3s out, right? Then we could replace it. I guess I can do it here. I can turn this 3 red, flip that 4 over. That gets that out of the way. And then we have, theoretically, the shape of the thing. So I need to get a 5 back into this slot. Which I guess it could be this to start. Just as we're finding our way here. The blue 4 that we would want to move over into there next can be this one. Allowing me to take a 3-2 off of this pile. And a 1. And then... we need a 2 and a 1. This is a little awkward. Because I need to flip these both over, right? But that means having a place to put them while I'm moving them around. Okay, I guess I can do this. Flip you over. No, wait. These are not colored correctly to go together under any circumstances. Shoot. I thought I had it there. Okay, what we can do is then... I can turn this into a blue 4 for holding purposes. Which lets me move this over. This is a 2 under any circumstances. So the problem is that we have too many blue 2s. So what I need is to turn this into... no, turning this into a blue 2 is not going to help. I need more red 3s is what I actually need, huh? Well, I mean, it looks like our numbers are... Okay, what else can be a 2 while blue? This 5 can be. But that's already the 2 for this red 3. Yeah, so we should only need 2 blue 2s. It's more of a problem that they're ill-distributed right now than anything else, I think. Okay, so put that there. Where's my flippable 3? My flippable 3 is here. Flip you over to move stuff off of here. So the flippable 3 becoming blue doesn't solve anything. We have 2 blue 3s, 2 red 2s to go with them. Right? I feel like I'm having trouble envisioning the final situation here. That is probably the thing that is giving me the trouble ultimately. Okay, so this is a full stack, and this is 3 cards that need to get distributed over the bottom space of this stack and the bottom 2 spaces after this 3. Except that these cards can't be used for that because one of them is a 4 no matter what. So it will always have to be the case that this one is a 4. We need to put this 3 onto there, I guess, for the moment. Obviously, the 5-4 doesn't work right now. This can be moved off of here for a moment, allowing us to swap that. So now we have a bunch of correct values, but unfortunately this stack is not actually legal. And the problem is I couldn't flip the 5 and keep the stack legal, right? Because we need another 5 for this stack. So this stack, which has 2 cards that are not 5s on the side they're on right now, needs to step up. How am I going to get access to that stuff? What if we're trying to free this 5 to go with the other things here? So we want to put a red 2 on this 3, allowing us to free up the 5 to be used for other things, right? Then we pick up this. Now we have to put this onto a blue 2. Okay. So what this is missing now is an opportunity for this card to turn back over into a red 4. We can move you to here. We can find a blue 4 to, we have a red 4. Here we go. Okay, so No, not this. Where's the red 4? Here's the red 4. So I need this card to flip over, which means I need something else to accept this card, which is a little awkward right now. I guess this can become a red 1. How am I going to make this work? I need to swap one of these for one of these existing red ones for that one. But I have nowhere to keep the red 1 in the meantime, you know? I don't have a blue 3. I don't have a red 3 to put you on. Yeah, everything's kind of awkwardly colored. Okay. So that's a 1 on its other side. Do this, and then that. There we go. I got confused partway through the maneuver I was executing there. I forgot what I was doing. And I found my way out the other side, but if I'm honest with you, I couldn't tell you exactly what... I started with one half of one plan and finished with the other half of a different plan. And I'm not 100% sure how I crossed the space between them. But sometimes just making moves, you know, sometimes it works. Ooh, murder mystery solitaire. In this solitaire, you'll have to solve a murder case while also stacking cards. Who's the killer and what's the killing weapon? 4 stars. Definitely not playable with a normal deck. So your task is to figure out who killed Mr. Steelhorse at the party, and with what. Both the killer and weapon are cards in the deck. Each 10 and face card is a party guest, for a total of 19 guests because the victim was also one of them. And every other card is a potential murder weapon or method. Each time a guest is revealed, they're questioned, and their response appears on the right edge of the screen. 2 guests have no idea what happened. 4 guests give an incorrect account of the events. 2 about the murder weapon and 2 about the killer. You can use the 3 buttons next to every response to keep track of whether you think they're true or false. Once you think you know the identities of the killer and the weapon, press the I know button. You can place cards on each other as long as their values differ by exactly 1, no matter what their suits. You can pick up a card of a stack of any size, as long as all the cards are descending. But they can be stacked on top of each other in either direction, it sounds like. Right, I can put the 10 on the 9. Yeah, okay. So, just checking. And we don't have to do anything special with the cards, we just have to get to this. Alright, so we've been told by the ace and the 10 here that the killer shares value with Mrs. Grubmoon, and the weapon shares value with auto-combustion. But what we can't know is whether that's true at all. Alright, let's put the 9 on here. That's a luxury yacht. Yeah, as long as the cards are in descending order, the suits don't actually matter at all for this. Okay, good to keep in mind. And I'm assuming the cards with the red backs are the face cards, right? The weapon's value is even. When I put this up here, yeah, it'll show me a new face card. The weapon's value is divisible by 4. 4 of them are wrong. 2 guests, when it says 2 guests have no idea about what happened, I'm assuming it just means they'll tell us, we'll get nothing at all from them. And 4 guests are lying. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge to figure out that one. Who's lying? Snark Daughter says sorry. Yeah, okay, one of the ones who doesn't know anything. Giraffe Square says the killer's value is even. Could be the case. Swordin says sorry I can't help you. Okay, well at least we've run out of those now. I'm a little leery about, as always, committing cards to the empty slot that we can move things in. But at this point, we don't have a lot of, like, just extra pull room. Fleeing to exile is... every other card is a murder weapon or method. Huh. Fleeing to exile is really not a murder weapon or a method. It's just like a behavior you might undergo after killing someone. The killer's suit is diamonds. I mean, I suppose it could be. The killer is currently in the first column. You don't say. I wonder if this will self-invalidate if the cards in the first column change. So at this point, the puzzle's kind of stuck, right? Like, I didn't find enough cards that are adjacent, like close to each other in values. So I just kind of can't. We almost managed to get this low enough to connect to the 2. I can pull an ace down onto this to free up a slot up here, but that doesn't help us because, you know, in order to put anything else back up here, we'd have to move multiple cards. So I think we're just... oh, right, either direction. Sound, remember the rules of the puzzle. So I can put a 5 here. The weapon shares suit with Snark Daughter. Mousing over Snark Daughter should probably show you what card that is, you know? The weapon's value is not a prime number. I mean, we have to, in order to know which clues, what I'm thinking right now is that in order to know which clues are false, we are going to have to unearth all of the clues, right? There, we can make 2 fully descending stacks, but I guess this isn't valuable to do until we can connect them, so for right now, actually, let's do that. I did not want to see another 13. The killer's value is odd, the killer's value is even, so one of these 2 is lying. That's the closest we've come to any certainty on anything, I believe. We can pull this 11 over to here, allowing us to drop this 13 onto there. Although maybe I should just move the 13 up. Try to keep them mobile stacks for the moment. Killer's value is prime. Sure wish I knew whether that was true. That seems like a useful piece of information. Okay, a 4. Okay, we can go... with this. We can place the 11 on here. And then... I have another 9, so we can run this 9 onto here and then just flip this all the way back to 13. That gives us a little bit more time. What I really wanted to find there was certainly not another 13. The weapon's value is divisible by 3. So we've almost got all the information. We're getting pretty close. I need some more connective cards. Okay, a 3 is interesting. It lets us move this stuff over. Actually, I guess we should move this over to here and then move the 2 on top of that to show us the maximum value here. Another 8 is interesting. What we actually really need is a 7, because we could extend this accordion effect with all these cards. What we can do right now is just run this 2 on top of here. Okay. It's better to have these, like, linking as much as possible. So another 5 is interesting. Okay, I wonder... So we can only move stacks when all the cards in the stack are descending. So when you do the accordion thing here, I guess you create a... It's a little harsher than doing it in the other puzzle type. Be very careful how you unwind things. But I think I've locked up the puzzle doing it this way because we can't pick up the bottom part of the accordion where the cards go upward. Yeah, we don't have another 12. Having drawn all 4 of the 13s already certainly does not help things. We had a spare 9, or okay. Let me try digging through this stuff for evidence again in a slightly different way, especially like now that I remember that you can go both up and down in the stacks. Killer shares suit with a long illness. We might not need to actually pull all of the statements, but we need to pull enough things that contradict other things to be able to tell what's a lie, right? And that is going to be like entirely luck-based, whether or not you can do that. So we're going to need some non-face cards to do connective work here. An extra 9 is hugely not what we wanted. Yeah, pulling more of the same value is it's pretty fucked. Wow, 3 9s, 2 7s, 2 4s. Okay. And now no matter what we pull, it's going to be a face card. I guess we just restart. Like, this one is just a you lose off the top. There's no face card we could draw that would be helpful, right? Our 10s. Okay, 10s. We could pull a 10. We didn't, though. Yeah, so that actually... We're already dead. Killer shares suit with Lord Von Dumplingsea. Well, isn't that great news? Okay, a Fatal Fall is an 8, which is a thing we super don't need right now. A 7 is helpful. Killer's value is not divisible by 4. Maybe. Could be true. Hard to say. The weapon's value is not divisible by 4. We can move this 2 onto a stack with aces, but we got to be careful about what we're doing here. Weapon shares suit with an axe. A third 8 is... It's not heartbreaking exactly, but it's not good. The fourth 8, you don't say. And only one number that's adjacent to an 8 in the whole draw. This one definitely feels like it's gonna just disappoint you on the draws a lot, actually. All right, you're not helpful, but at least you can hold another card. The 10 would be really interesting if we'd ever drawn like a 9 or anything. yeah, as things stand, we are now done because because we drew all 4 8s. Yeah, nothing, just nothing connects to anything else. All right. Let's try this one more time. Okay, the 5 is perhaps promising. Another 5 is certainly not promising. Another 7 is not very good. The killer is currently in the second column, is not even borderline useful. Unless it does dynamically update. We didn't see it happen last time, though, at all. Okay, a 6 we can place on a thing. Killer's suit is diamonds. And once again, we are just bleeding space for things. Show me like a 6. Nope. Okay. So guess I'd rather keep building downward. And put this up here. A 10 is not very good, but it doesn't block us completely. Oof, another 3 might though. Yeah, with no 12s, 3 13s with 0 12s. 2 10s, 2 7s, 2 3s, 2 5s. No, like almost no even numbers at all. I mean, you know, obviously counting the 10s as face cards, just like no even numbers in the actual number area. And as such, if I'd placed things a little differently, we could like move the 8 onto the 7 wherever it was, which would have opened up the ability to move more cards. But like we were pretty reliant on eventually finding an even number that would let us build in some kind of direction, and we just did not find it. All right. I'm trying to figure out what is the appropriate amount of drawing face cards. Thanks to the backs, we get to know ahead of time, so we get to make decisions here. And it's just a matter of figuring out like what thing makes sense. Right now, exposing a face card probably doesn't make a ton of sense unless it's an 11. So I guess I'm going to move this 4 up to here. Get us an 8, which is fine. Get us an ace, which is not fine. Actually, a thing we do not want at all. Okay, 8's not amazing in that situation. I don't know why I say things out loud. Clearly, I am just creating opportunity. Okay, well, some of these cards have to be 7s. Or 9s. I would accept some 9s. Alright, well, we can certainly do this for right now. It's not ideal, but we can do it. Putting a 7 here allows this 7 to absorb another 8 if we decide that that's the thing we want to do. Oof, just drawing way too much of the same shit. So we can move this over. I can move this onto here and try to keep the number of cards that are in backward situations fairly low. Alright, the weapon is currently in the second column. Again, not my favorite kind of clue. And where are the 9s, huh? This allows us to transport the 4s over to here, and we can pick up... Oh, this isn't a stack, right? So we're going to have to pick up either the 10 or the ace to move along. I guess the 10, I guess we're trying to show more numerical cards. This is pretty bad, though. When I say pretty bad, I guess I mean we lost. Yeah, I'm not... Clearly I'm doing something wrong. I'm not managing my risk correctly in some way, but I'm not sure what that way is. Revealing cards is the only important thing, which is to say that sometimes revealing cards is going to be secondary to, like, temporarily secondary to maintenance that allows us to pull a larger number of cards overall in the puzzle. We gotta be careful not to be looking too, we have to make sure that we are looking far enough ahead not to make like those kinds of mistakes. All right, pair of 13s, not a great start. A 6 that we certainly don't need. I wish that I could... Yeah, I wish I could do something else with that 12. All right, but that's fine. And then we can do this for right now. All right, another 12, 11. Another 12. Okay, a 10 is a useful thing. So I'm going to try to keep this stack as correctly numbered as possible, I think. All right, another 2 is probably just the kind of thing we got to sideline for a minute. Okay, another 11 can get out of here. Another 2. A scandal. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions left. I wonder what the minimum number of questions you can ask to get a deducible answer is. This feels like we've got a lot, and I don't feel super strongly incentivized to keep digging in these piles. I mean, somewhere there's got to be a 9, right, which would open this pile up a little bit more. Although, of course, only theoretically. Since we can't move everything all at once, you know, we might just be stuck a little bit. I guess there's no reason to stop digging now, though. Okay, so a 9 allows me to do this. Okay, I was kind of hoping that was going to be like a 5. Because we don't quite have the space to like tuck the 6 and 7 away to move the 8, 7, 6 over there, and then probably just put the 6 and 7 back on top of it for a little while, which is obviously what I would like to do, because that's going to get us close to being able to ask more questions. If we No, I can't figure out a way to do it. We would just need to find a card that lets us dig a little bit more, and I don't think we're going to. Okay, that's interesting, because that lets us go 5 and then 4. An extra 9 doesn't really help without an extra 10. We're at a place where an extra 8 would be so killer. More twos. All right, really bad, really, really bad. So I think that's it. I think that's the puzzle. That's as much information as we got on this one. Unless there is a way to rearrange these cards such that we can grab some more information, but I think there isn't. Yeah, okay, so let's see if we can deduce anything from what we got here. The killer shares a value with Mr. Richmud. So the killer's a 13. That would, so this one invalidates the prime number. The weapon's value is odd. The weapon, yeah, we don't have anywhere near enough information to guarantee things. Like Mr. Richmud and a prime number are at odds. Killer shares suit with Princess Clubdank, which is hearts. So that's at line with that's at odds with the killer's suit is diamonds. We got 2 lies there. We don't know enough about the weapon to be able to determine. Yeah, I think I need more cards. Okay, we were closer that time. You got to really prioritize getting your face cards out, but not in such a way that you weaken your overall position. Weapon suit is spades. That's, potentially interesting. We'll see how true it looks later. So we want to dig into this big stack of this stuff, obviously. Okay, that's nice. I might even just go ahead and stick the high values over here. That's a lot of cards that get played very quickly. Okay, a 7 is actually kind of a backup. So the 8 onto the 9 onto the 10 is pretty beautiful. Hard to argue with the way this is going. Now, there's no more red cards to be had in this pool for a while. So why don't we try pulling these up? Killer shares a value with Master Los Blancpovel. Does it always refer to... No, it looks like it does not always refer to a card you can already see. That's kind of interesting, I think. A 12. Well, one thing we could do is we could just dump a 12 underneath this stack, right? I can move this 13 over onto here, move the 12, and then move the 13 back. Just intentionally bury extra high value cards so we don't have to deal with them. But if we're trying to show all the face cards, the high value cards do have... Yeah, they do have utility. Hey, look at that. We completed a stack. This one's going a lot better, but it's going a lot better because of luck, basically. Killer shares suit with a fire. What a strange thing. Okay, Baroness Grudge Clock. We're getting closer and closer to solving your crime. At this point, though, I am wondering if it's time to start stacking things, like I was saying. Pull the 12 down out of here so we can move the 13 back onto it, and just lose a face card in order to give myself the opportunity to pull from somewhere else. Yeah, it doesn't give us a lot of mobility. Because it does just open up the one card. But we can do that, and that's not a helpful value. Okay, we can do this here. Continuing to collapse. A 2. Not helpful, but not immediately lethal. Do I want to pull this way or that way? Obviously, more facts is important, but we gotta try to get ourselves some more puzzle, right? Okay, the killer's suit is not hearts. A 13 is very much not what I wanted. An 11's better, but it might be too late. The weapon shares suit with the Duchess von Orange lamp. I guess we can pull this down here, move the 13 over, start constructing this like it's a real stack. And you know, honestly, we're getting a lot of opportunity here. I think I'm going to I guess we could go like 6, then pull a 7 from up here, and then move this whole 6 down. See, I could put the 3 over here. We could do this. We only have the 1 connecting 5 here and the 1 connecting 5 here. So for the moment, let me just move this out of the way. And then we have an open slot. 13, 12. Yeah, we're getting a lot revealed here. So 3, 4, 3. Let me move this 3, 4 onto here. So let me move this 7 to here. We can pick up an awful lot of cards all at once this way. And now we're only missing 4 facts. So we're getting to the point where we might actually be able to figure this out. I can move this whole 13 over should I need to. For the moment, we can just keep doing this kind of thing. Another 8, I guess, can only really go here. All right. Weapons value is not a prime number. And then if I made a silly error somewhere, I should have moved this 9. I don't know. I think we had time. I guess let me put the 6 down here. Ace up there to get 1 more red card. Okay, here we go. I was gonna say we must be close to drawing the other 9 because of the other 11 because of the very small number of face cards that are still missing. Okay, 5, 7. I don't. Yeah, 5, 6, 7. 4 can go here. The 9 can get pulled up here. A 2 can go there, and that is all of the red cards. We have all the facts now. Okay, so this one is now for sure, 100% for sure, logically solvable. The question is, can I do this puzzle now? So let me, this is not the most exciting thing for y'all because y'all can't see the notepad file, but let me just pull these. I can't sort these on the document. Let me just pull these into more, I'm just going to rearrange them into more relevant positions. So the weapon suit is spades. Do we have anything else that goes directly to the weapon's suit? The weapon shares suit with the guillotine. Unfortunately, now we have to just kind of... I guess I need to move this so that I can see the last card. I don't need to, but it would be convenient if I moved that so we could see the last card. Okay. So, we just gotta mouse over all these. I wish there was a way to do this and have this many cards have all, you know, all of their unique art and have us still be able to see all of them, you know, at the same time. So the guillotine would be clubs. So weapon suit is spade. Weapon suit is guillotine, clubs. Because if we can isolate which four, like what the four contradictions are, then we can work from the stuff that we know is true. What else about the weapon? The weapon shares suit with the Duchess von Orange lamp. I feel like we saw her early on, right? She is spades. Okay. So that's 2 votes for spades of the weapon. We can probably figure out the suit just from that, depending on what other lies are here. Weapon is currently in the 5th column. Okay. Weapon's value is even. Weapon shares value with doubt. Doubt, which is a 4. Okay. We also have the weapon. The weapon shares value. The weapon's value is not divisible by 3. And then the weapon's value is not prime. Shares value with a metal pipe. 9. Okay, that's a lot of thoughts about the weapon's value. Okay, the killer's suit is spades. The killer's value is even. Let's start with the suit stuffs. The killer shares suit with a fire, which is hearts. I mean, I guess that feels right. If you were to ask me what suit should a fire be, that's the one I would tell you. We also have the killer shares. The killer's suit is just straight up is hearts. So we've got ourselves a lie here for sure. Position. Killer's value. All right, we have killer's value is even and killer's value is odd. Fantastic. Killer shares value with Master los Blomphovel or Blomfovel. Neither one of them are super flattering to the ear. Blomfovel. Mistress of the Unicorn Forest is a really, really good name, as is Duke von Kikidink. Okay, here we go. I missed him the first time. So this is shares value with Blomhovel. 12. Okay. Killer's value is non-prime. So far we're all good. Killer's value is okay, so is odd. Is the one out, obviously. Alright, and that covers most of our statements. There's still there are the statements about the position of the cards that I don't know if we're gonna need to evaluate those or not, because we did catch a bunch of lies here. So we have the weapon suit we have 3 statements about the weapon suit, 2 that it is spades and 1 that it is clubs. So we have at least 1 lie here. Then with the weapon value, we have it's even, it's 4, it's not divisible by 3, it's not prime, and it's 9. So there's at least 2 lies there, right? because 4 and 9 are at odds. And then... Well, no, if it is 4, then none of the other ones are necessarily wrong. Not prime, not divisible by 3. So there's at least one lie there. If it's just is 9, that's a single lie. Then we have killer's suit is spades, is hearts, and is hearts. So there's at least one lie there. And then we have the killer's value is even, is 12, is not prime, and is odd. And so there's one lie there. And so it always has to be the one where it's exactly one lie, because all 4 of those groups of statements have a lie in them. So we know that the killer's suit is not spades. That's false. The killer's value is not odd. The weapon's value is not 9. And the weapon's suit is not clubs, which means I know what happened. Okay. Press the I know button. Okay. Who killed the Baroness Grudge Clock? The Baroness Grudge Clock was killed by the person who is the 12 of spades. Grudgeless. What a name. You might think that name speaks to a lack of holding grudges, but no, in fact, it speaks to the particular grudge that they are holding. And the killing occurred with whatever is the 12... Nope, that's wrong. Whatever is the 4 of also spades. A big fucking axe. What? Her Majesty Catfry? What? Her Majesty Catfry is 12 of hearts. Nope, that's exactly what our information says, and I clicked the wrong... That's exactly what our information says, and I clicked the wrong... There's 3 statements here. Killer's suit is spades, killer's suit is hearts, and killer's suit is hearts. And I've crossed out one of them. And... But it's the first one in the group, so Okay. Well, here's the thing about that. Here's what I'm going to do. That's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. You all saw me solve that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run it back and do a correct solution off camera. We know that we can get to the end of it. It takes a little bit of careful wriggling of the cards. You would like to be able to see everything. You need at least to be able to see a majority of the face cards. You certainly don't need all of the face cards. And like here, there were like four or 5 statements that we didn't even consider, like the positional ones. You probably only need to see like 3/4 of the face cards to be reasonably sure you have it. So I'll get one. I'll do it. I'll do it off camera. So that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, we will be moving on to other solitaires, and maybe I'll just occasionally slow down and take a second to verify that I'm clicking on the right thing, occasionally. And we'll see you then.